your story, and hopefully he'll call back. When I spoke to him, he was summoned to the scene. He was the state fire marshal in charge of this area. There was a fire and incident at the Hermitage Motel in Bartow. He responded along with, I believe, Deputy Walton and other units. He called the prosecuting attorney to have the vehicle secured, and he spoke with, he believes, J.L. Clifton, who went directly and spoke with Donna, who okayed the storage of the vehicle. Approximately 2 weeks into the investigation, the state fire marshal determined that there was no fire marshal issue involved, and he was not going to proceed in any matter involving his office. And approximately 6 weeks after the incident, he told me he spoke directly with Donna Price and advised her that the fire marshal's office had made the decision not to go forward, and that the matter would be turned over to the sheriff's department for any further investigation. And then, according to my conversation with the sheriff, soon thereafter, it was determined by the prosecutor that there would be no criminal charge for the theft of the gas propane. Is that what it was? Propane?
I spoke with the owner of the Hermitage. He didn't want to press charges against me.
Okay, and you advised the prosecutor of that?
I don't know if I did indirectly or not. If I actually advised her that he didn't want to pursue charges or not. But I think I do remember having a conversation at one point to the fact that as far as the explosion itself and the permit, that would have been up to the state fire marshal's office to take care of. If they didn't want to do anything about it, there isn't anything that we, because the fire marshal's office, they take care of explosion. Anytime you have an explosion or anything of that nature, you have to contact the fire marshal's office. If they didn't want to pursue that part of it, it would be actually senseless for me to try to pursue the guy.
I understand that, but the prosecutor is the one who initially, according to the state fire marshal, okayed the storage of the vehicle. Is that correct, Mr. Dean?
I was told by Chief Walton that she would take care of the vehicle.
That the prosecutor would take care of it. Now, Sheriff, was there a time that came a conversation between you and Ms. Price in which Ms. Price indicated that the perpetrator had suffered enough and she wasn't going to pursue any charges?
We had that discussion, but again, it came back to the victim
So when did it determine, when was it determined before this $11,000 bill mounted up that the car was totally unnecessary? In fact, the fire marshal told me that he investigated the car, he inspected it, and there's absolutely nothing in that vehicle that's of any danger or any problem or any evidence or anything. And he told me that on March 13th. So I want to know why, and the car is still sitting up there to the tune of $11,000.
The vehicle was under fire marshal investigation. We have no involvement in that whatsoever.
And he told the prosecutor 6 weeks after he started he was not going to do anything.
Mr. Safford, you either give me a turn or quit putting words in my mouth. You're using this as an opportunity to take a platform in your candidacy, and that's inappropriate. You either let me answer instead of just assuming I said this and I said that. You're taking everybody else's word, but you won't listen to me.
Let's hear from you.
I learned that that vehicle was at Mr. and Mrs. Dean's facility when I received a call from Mr. Dean on December the 5th of this year, or of 2011. He called about the vehicles, being the Jeep that was Mr. Owens and this one. And then, in trying to figure that out, I had one phone conversation with B.J. Robinson, and that was after. How I knew there was a fire at the Hermitage was when Mr. Hamill was a reporter for the Pocahontas Times, I got a telephone call on January 24th asking questions. I tried to get the fire marshal's report then. I tried to get the fire marshal's report when I was contacted by a radio or newspaper article called newspaper periodical called The Recorder. And the owner of the Hermitage had called and just indicated that it was an employee trying to transfer and steal propane, that they secured the scene until the fire marshal could arrive. Fire marshal, his name and his phone number. BJ, I know BJ, I've worked other cases with him. 619-1978. My update from him was that he was stealing propane and it got away from him, but the man is still in the hospital. 2 air tanks and a compressor were rigged up to try to fill them, and that the insurance company was going to be meeting. Until Mr. Dean contacted me,
What date was that on?
my update from Mr. Robinson, that came way up in it. That would have been up sometime. This all happened in January. It was starting to be spring, which I still do not have fire marshal's report. What I have is I've been able to keep notes of every phone conversation I have.
He told you directly 6 weeks
Well, and I can tell you he didn't.
You're saying he didn't?
No, sir.
Okay.
And
we'll have to
until
wait for his
today,
phone call.
or until 8 days ago, when Chief Walton advised that he believed that Mr. Robinson had secured a search warrant for the premises, he listed a vehicle on it, but there's not a return to that. This is just the affidavit. The call sheet. There's no self-service in Durban. The telephone is burnt up. All communications ran through that 911 center. By name or by number. I'm not contacted anywhere. And I don't speak to Mr. Robinson until well up in the investigation when I've tried to call him twice to get an update. I don't want to see them out their finances and their storage fee. That's not correct. But to just keep putting words in my mouth and assuming that what this one said is so, irregardless of what I might have to say. I told you 2 weeks ago on the other, I took responsibility for it because the state police have no other storage abilities. I concur with Mr. Walker's suggestion of it would take not a lot of effort to arrange and secure a fenced-in lot to do this on our own. You're making, I'm going on 4 years and there's been 2 vehicles, one of which state police have nothing, I mean they have nowhere else they can go. The fire marshal sees this under his own warrant, under his own doings.
No, he told me he contacted you and you approved it.
No, I did not speak with Mr. Robinson regarding this incident.
No, he spoke to your assistant
Until
who
well
spoke to
into-
you and you approved it through your assistant.
First it was me and now it's me
And you,
through him and through him. I'm telling you no. I learned that this vehicle was at Johnny's garage when Brenda called and Johnny called asking questions on both of them. And that's, I'm assuming that it's stored like the Jeep. That's when I found out it had to be, it was enclosed in its own.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that vehicle. It can be released at any time.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm disagreeing with your assertion and your position and you're using this as a...
I'm trying to get this bill stopped. $11,000. I'm trying to find out which department is responsible for keeping a vehicle in which absolutely no criminal proceedings or any proceedings whatsoever happened. And it's over, what, 2 years now? Year and a half?
And
So I'm
a year
trying
and
to
3 months.
assess
3 months ago,
responsibility because the commission's gonna have to write a check. And when we write a check, we like to know why we're writing the check.
Well,
That's what we're trying to do.
and this is my position, and it would be really, really, really nice and would be respectable and the appropriate thing to do. If you recall the last meeting, I asked you, could you and was it appropriate for you to be in discussions that had to do with my office in as much as we are direct opponents? And you said no, and I said I didn't think so either.
I'd like to offer,
I'd like to finish just a moment, David, that we could all be reasonable. You've shown me that we can't. And issues like this could be corrected. You've been on the commission for almost 6 years. Think out of the box, be forward thinking, and secure your own. My understanding is that's why Mr. Whiteford started having the sheriff's department store in the back lot back there, although it's not fenced in, was to help curb these costs. Well, the state police doesn't have any, and I don't know what the fire marshal's protocol is, but there's nothing with my signature on it. There's nothing stating that I had knowledge that this was occurring until Mr. and Mrs. Dean contacted me on December the 5th.
I just want to
About both of them.
clear for the record, you're saying
So
that you
do I.
had no conversation with Mr. Robinson about 6 weeks after this incident in which he told you personally and directly that he was not going to pursue anything in his department and that the matter would be turned over to the sheriff's department if anything further were to be done. And you're saying that did not happen?
Now, we discussed the nature of the case. I do not recall that he was turning it over. I recall that...
You do recall now that he told you 6 weeks afterward that he wasn't going to do anything?
Yes, and I still was unaware that there was a vehicle involved. Vehicle was... You're wanting
You
to...
were unaware there was a vehicle 6 weeks after it had
Yes,
been up
sir.
there?
I got the search warrant when Chief Walton helped me. I don't even have the report.
The vehicle was secured based on the search warrant that was obtained by the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office. That's how the vehicle was secured.
The fire marshal told me it was secured under the authority of the prosecutor who reversed
I would like
that.
to offer this, if I may. I think it's a foregone conclusion that the county commission is going to have to pay this bill. Given Mr. Sacker's candidacy for the office, I do feel it's inappropriate for him to be questioned her directly on this matter. I think what we
I
should
don't
do
think
is...
so at all. I
That's my
think
feeling.
well, that's good. You have your feeling.
My feeling on this is that we should just pay the invoice and move on.